The Giants have signed Matt Chapman to what looks like a very reasonable 3-year, $54 million contract with opt-outs after the first 2 years. What does he bring to the table? Well, he brings elite defense. He brings a veteran presence who's not completely over the hill. We're talking about a 31-year-old, so kind of towards the end of the prime of his career. And just also what this means is there's a commitment by the Giants to trying to field a winning product and to actually go out there and win. And we hear from Susan Slusser of the San Francisco Chronicle that she hears that signing Chapman does not take the Giants out on Blake Snell. And she says, in fact, they're still very much involved. And so this is going to be like a very short version of the regular podcast. I simply do not have the time at this moment to record a full podcast. We're going to do that tomorrow, breaking this signing down in full details. If you're on, you'll just be watching this. I think it probably won't go audio only, but Giants sign Chapman. What does he bring to the table? Could Blake Snell be next? And so, in essence, third baseman Chapman, it does make the left side of the infield, like what happens with JD Davis. We've already discussed this a million times. If they were to sign Chapman, what happens with JD Davis? Does Chapman play some short in the event that Luciano isn't able to fill that role and keep JD Davis at third? I think Chapman probably sticks at third, and you just kind of find your way at short with the guys that they have. And I just can't emphasize enough that 3 years, $54 million is just about as low of a contract as you could possibly expect for a guy like Matt Chapman. So his market really collapsed for whatever reason. He does get an opt-out after each year. But I think at this point, with the Giants having made so many other deals this offseason, that people aren't going to be too turned off by getting this player and having him have opt-outs. And I'm surprised. I mean, the opt-out doesn't do him nearly as much good as it does a Cody Bellinger, who is younger by 3 years. And so Chapman, if he opts out after the season, he'd be opting out and entering its age 32 season. So he'd have to have a pretty monster season for it to be worth it, unless he just really feels like the market will be better next time around. But it wasn't there this year. So he's hoping to have a monster year, which would be a win for the Giants. And then that hint about them being very much still in on Snell is just tantalizing. So we will break this down in far more detail tomorrow. But just for tonight, no, the Giants got better. They're proving a commitment to putting the best team out there that they can and to spending money more than they have in the recent past. I know their payroll is actually down a little bit from last year, but they received $30 million from MLB's sale of BAMTech to Disney last year. So this is actually kind of what I would call an increase in payroll, even though it's down from last year. It's up from the previous several years before last year. Anyway, great move for the Giants. I really hope they can just cap it all off with a signing of Blake Snell. That would be awesome, and they'd vault to legit contention if this doesn't do it already. Anyway, I'm Ben Kaspick with Locked On Giants. Hope you enjoyed this little edition of the show, and we'll see you tomorrow with the full breakdown.